What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show and Speak Easy. It is your boy L.Q.
Right back, Prism.
Let's go. That was faster this time. And today we'll be giving our review of the movie Borderlands. For those that don't know, Borderlands is a video game that is 4-player co-op, a looter shooter. What that means is you shoot things and you loot things. It's a game made by 2K, known for having so many guns, so many funny lines, and even a few bits where it's corny. So they got a movie this year. Movie starring Jamie Lee Curtis, Kevin Hart, some other names I clearly don't know.
Those are the only ones that matter.
Pretty much.
Again, it has Kate Blanchett as Lilith, Kevin Hart as Roland, Jack Black as Claptrap, Jamie Lee Curtis as Tannis, Ariana Greenblatt as Tiny Tina, and Florian, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, as Krieg.
Oh yeah, I don't know who in the world played Krieg, but whoever he was, shout out to him. Because it got to be hard to literally just be sound effects almost in a whole movie.
And then enter Jack Black as Claptrap.
True that. But I mean, for some reason, Jack Black is just Jack Black. He's probably like amongst the list of the most likable people on earth. Like, most of the time, if you don't like people like Jack Black or Snoop Dogg, most people look at you wrong and they're just like, so what's wrong with you? But anyway. As most people have known or heard or seen, the movie isn't well received and is doing terrible in box office. We're here to let you know if any of that is justified because we went to go see it. We actually took time out of our day, Anime Mastery, to go see this movie. And on 3, let's say if it was worth it. 1, 2, 3.
No,
it was absolutely not worth it. Yo, and this is the thing. Like, it's not worth it if you play the games, and it's also not worth it if you've never played any of the games. But of course, like, when you get the actors and stuff, like the big name actors and all that stuff, and pour a bunch of money into it, you want the casual audience to care. Like, I don't care if anybody says, "Oh, it's just a passion project for people that love the game." It wasn't, because then it probably would have been better. There's plenty of movies that suck to like the majority of people, and then they find their cult following, or they reach the people that they really wanted to reach, and then they love it and they carry that on, and they actually turn into cult classics, or at least the demographic that really is supposed to enjoy it anyway are the only people that go see it. We had our issues with the Super Mario movie, but I mean, who doesn't like the lore of Super Mario? It's really basic and easy to appeal to a bunch of people with. So that movie ended up doing well after everybody was just like, why Chris Pratt? But after seeing the movie, everybody was like, you know what? This is actually pretty good. Critics were pretty harsh on it because comedy is subjective, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, that movie was actually good. So when we tell you that this ain't worth the time, it's on all levels.
It's not worth the time.
Yeah, it's genuinely not worth the time. Before we get to complain.
And I lost $10 out of it.
Yo, yeah, but I mean, it was the friends we made along the way.
Definitely wasn't in the Borderlands movie.
No, it definitely was not. So before we get all negative and trash this thing, let's pick up some highlights. ESP, you want to tell us some of the things that you actually enjoyed about the movie? If there was any?
The casting. I enjoyed Kevin Hart and Jack Black. I don't know too many movies from the other actors, but very high-ranking actors. I would say they did their roles as actors. And I have an opinion that most people may not agree with, but when it comes to actors, if they're a very well-known actor who was known for various roles and people don't like the roles that the job they did in that role, I would more so blame the director, because the director at the end of the day should have a bigger say of what they're looking for in the character, and if that actor isn't doing a portrayal that they seem fit, it's still up to the casting. There's plenty of Hollywood actors that they could try to fill a role. So I would say the acting was good for what it was, and then the actors themselves, I can't really think of anybody that would be a good replacement. I mean, I feel like Kevin Hart did a good job as Roland, although I can see that there would be other actors who could have more fit his height and build. I think it was more so attaching the name to the movie.
Yeah, that definitely happened quite a bit. Just like that notoriety of the big names. It happens so often.
Yeah, and I didn't dislike Jamie Lee Curtis as Thanos. To me, she was a little bit older than what I was expecting for the movie, but her role made sense. And let's see what else did I like about it. Uh, I mean, Claptrap was pretty true to his character. Um, but
Nah,
Jack Black doesn't really do wrong with his characters in the first place, so
that's true. Like even let's be real, when he was casted as Bowser in the Super Mario movie, no one said anything bad about it. Like
nope,
everybody was
he
just like,
delivered.
"Oh, okay."
Not only did he deliver, but he brought us one of the best movie songs of the year. Since I believe he had a huge part in the production and the lyrics to the song.
Break it down for peaches, 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 peaches. Ah, that's it. That's all you're getting out of me. But yeah, that song is a gem. I love that song.
And if you wanted to hear more, you should have been at Anime Mixer when there was a Bowser who performed it.
My
Maybe next
goodness.
year.
I may put that at the end of this episode. Just maybe.
So for me, I think that was I'd say Kevin Hart and Jack Black were probably the positives to me of the movie. That's what I would say.
Mine differ, but go ahead.
That's it. Do you have any positives, if any?
Yeah, so my positives actually is Jamie Lee Curtis as Tannis. I think she did a really good job portraying a scientist with Asperger's and also being respectful to the community in her portrayal as well. Krieg, honestly, is my favorite character. I think the thing that sucks about how they did Krieg is like Krieg doesn't really say much. But he does like yell things. Like he just has these really outlandish one-liners, and I actually do remember one from the movie where he's like, "I'll lick your spine clean," and you're just like, "Why? Why is it so murderous? Like, what is going on?" And I do think like that was pretty funny, to be totally honest. I thought that was hilarious.
And on brand with the character.
Very on brand. He was the most accurate portrayal because it's so hard to screw up the portrayal of a psycho that just yells out random lines.
Yeah, true.
I hope he got to ad lib some of that stuff, but I'm pretty sure he didn't because he really didn't say that much. But anyway, other positive, I will say that Marcus, and I know Marcus isn't the main character, wasn't part of the main group. That entire catch a ride scene was so on point. That is exactly Marcus. He had the voice down. He had the look down. He had every part of Marcus was probably the best casting in the entire movie, bar none. I wish he played a more important role.
I wish he gave them more guns.
Yo, for real.
Anyways,
Another positive I can give it, which a lot of people probably won't, is the jokes. I would say like a majority of them land. When I say majority, I don't mean like 80, 90%. I'd say like 60% of the jokes that were supposed to be funny actually landed in some way. There were moments where, when we were sitting in our row, there was moments where me, Mike, and Anthony actually just like, ha! Like, it was actually like genuinely funny. It wasn't like fall out the chair funny because I don't think the pacing was meant for it to be that way. But for what it was, like, and what was available, especially from Claptrap, I think Claptrap, the course on the humor part, Jack Black saved pretty much all bits of comedy. That scene with the psychos and talking trash to them and taking advice from Tina, hilarious. That actually was a good scene. You can tell that they wanted it to be funny and they were really hoping it landed. Count your lucky stars, it actually did. Let's see, what's the other thing that I liked about the movie? I like the set piece for Pandora. I do wish the cinematography for it was a bit different. I'll get into that later. But the actual set piece, like Pandora, looked like Pandora.
Yeah. They had a couple of shots that looked like the video game to me.
Yeah, I would say that. They were like almost one for one with the video game. It actually looked like the people that did the set design actually played the game instead of just looking at a picture of it. So I thought that was pretty cool. Last thing, Commander Knox. That woman's so fine. She had a terrible haircut the whole movie, but that woman's so fine. Anyway, that's shoot. Honestly, that might be it.
That's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's it. So
All right.
let the bashing begin.
Well, I don't think I laughed the entire movie. I can't remember
Hey,
a single. I can't remember a single line I laughed at.
not even the scene where Claptrap got shot up by the psychos.
Yeah,
What part was mean? Was it the ass face? Was it? I'm not gonna lie. I thought that part was. Well, I mean, he'd had
I
like a
think
lot of insults in a row.
I think it's because at some point, like I can see it coming, because that's my. If I were a main character in my own comedy, a lot of this stuff is stuff that I would think of or do or say, and so I kind of see it coming, and I'm just like, all right,
Oh yeah. Now I'll say this: I definitely saw him getting shot up coming, but I did like the insults to get their attention. I thought that part was. I thought that was genuinely funny. Like at least, haha, funny. Like I said, nothing was making me roll out of my chair.
yeah. The action was decent. I mean, the action sequences at least somewhat kept me entertained. Man, I feel like they should have had more versatility in guns. I think that they should have showcased the different elements more than just in one area.
Oh my god, yes, that was like one of my biggest complaints. I was like, "Ooh, they got corrosive,"
And that was it.
and
Yeah,
that was
that
it. It was just like it showed you it existed, and I was like, "Okay, I guess."
yeah, so there was the elements. They didn't show it in the guns. They didn't have not one. They could have had at least one super grenade where it split into three, and that split into smaller pieces, and then like electricity came out, maybe some fire, something, like anything.
My bad. I
But
didn't mean to cut you off, but I was about to ask, what brand of grenades is that in the game? Do you remember? Like which?
is it Tor? It's not Torg. Because at some point, I think the thing is, different types of grenades have different effects. Like, I think Maliwan specialized in like just the elemental aspect of grenades.
Yeah,
Torg, I feel like, did more with the explosion.
that's the one that had, yeah, that's the one that had the child grenades.
Oh yeah, that might have been it.
Yeah, because
That is the one with the child.
Teddy Or has the standard grenade.
Yeah,
There's most of the ones that you got to have like slag on. I think. Well, no. They have everything except slag. My memory is serving me right. Yeah, they got everything but slag. So yeah, I just had to throw that in. I only asked it because I was like, maybe it's because they were using mostly Atlas stuff. But I was like, well, Atlas doesn't even make grenades. That's like a Hyperion thing, or Vladov. So yeah, never mind.
yeah, or even Doll.
True, dog got the bouncing betties.
Yeah, see, yeah, every
It's one of the
every
most annoying grenades that you can run into whenever you're doing like the one-on-one challenges. When people want to fight you for a gun, oh my god, bouncing betties is freaking stupid.
You know what? They could have had a freaking TDR gun.
True,
You know, where TDR guns are the ones where you shoot and then when you reload, you throw it and they explode. They could have had that. Yeah, they missed on. Oh, and then Molly one is the elemental one.
yeah.
So, so yeah, if they missed, they missed on the weapons. So didn't like
That's
that.
honestly, we can just stay on this point for a second because I just want, like, I'm gonna actually tell y'all how many guns are in Borderlands 1. Just one. There are around, according to Google and the AI overview, Borderlands released in 2009 by Gearbox has around 17,750,000 weapons,
A lot of
all
weapons.
from randomizer. There's so many options. And how many did we see the entire movie? We maybe saw 25.
Yeah, maybe.
And that's a hard
I
maybe.
don't
Like
even.
that's me considering if every, what is it, red crimson Fleet, yeah, Crimson Fleet. If the Crimson Fleet all had different weapons, and we saw Crimson Fleet is in Starfield. I'm tripping.
You mean the Crimson Raiders?
Yes, the Crimson Raiders. Let's say if all the Crimson Raiders had their own weapons, if Commander Knox and her crew had all their own weapons, if all the Psychos had their own weapons, and then Atlas soldiers at the end, and we include the weapon on the ship, there's maybe 25 to 30 guns in the whole movie. Because the main cast doesn't change their weapons at all.
No, I don't think they do.
They don't. I know for sure that they don't. What's his name? Krieg doesn't get a gun like the entire movie, which I get it. He is a bruiser build, but he still is part of the game that you loot and shoot. So it just seemed like a little bit out of element for him to not at least pick up some cool guns along the way. Like, it would have been nice if they just let's be real. If they did it the way that is kind of in alignment with the game without going full on this is a video game, even if they like killed somebody and then they run out of bullets, so they end up picking up someone else's gun, they look at it and they're like, this is weird. What does this do? And then they shoot a bullet out of a pistol and it's an explosive and it blows up something in the background. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good bit of humor to like, oh, look at this. It's just another shitty pistol. Shoots it, creates a black hole. Like, that's fun. Like, one, you can make that funny, depending on how it's written. Two, it just shows the extent of like what can happen within the universe of Borderlands. I don't think that when we talk about the guns, that wasn't nearly explored enough.
And you know what? I think that they only ever showed maybe one brand of guns. And I think maybe that could be why the grenades thing was lacking, because I think at this point in time, because it almost seemed like kind of a prequel, because in the video games, I don't know if we can we give spoilers. People should already seen it, right?
Man, if y'all don't want to hear spoilers,
Okay, spoiler alert. So
yeah.
anyone that's gonna listen, so since Lilith discovered her powers in the video game, she already has her powers. So my guess is if they were to make a second one, it would probably establish several years in the future, which may introduce Hyperion. And since Hyperion is big on manufacturing and that's kind of like a technology advancement in that space, maybe that would be where they also introduce like other competitors like TDO, Tord, all that kind of stuff, in which case would also introduce more types of grenades and guns.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's just my thought if they were to make it, because right now it's so simplistic and every manufacturer has their own representative, and we only ever saw one. So yeah, I'm guessing this one was more like a prequel and it's not up to where the Borderlands games are yet.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's the reason why I was asking about the grenades and the brands, because I was like, well, you could limit it that way and it would make sense, and it would be hard to argue that they didn't have access to that stuff. So yeah, you didn't get the coolest of explosions. But it's also a movie where you can take some liberties, because we played Borderlands 1, 2, and 3. By the way, 3 is the worst one. Even in then, there's some things I wouldn't mind being changed. The thing I don't like, there's like the thing that hardcore video game fans want, and they want the exact same story of their game brought to life. It's really easy for Super Mario because Super Mario has no story. So you can literally take liberties almost however you want, as long as you have to save Princess Peach. And then even that's been flipped on its head quite a few times, where Peach is saved herself. Or, like Bowser isn't even the main villain. Sometimes it's Birdo. But when you get to movie tie-in or movie games like Assassin's Creed or League of Legends, Doom, things like that, like the people want Resident Evil. Resident Evil's a big example. People want the movie to be a recreation of the story that the game told, because the story of the game is already good. With this one, like, let's be real. There's so many missions and side missions in this game. The whole an entire game, like entire movie, could have been a side mission storyline. Just to be real, that's how many missions are usually in the Borderlands game.
Yeah.
It's like if you made a movie for Skyrim, you could be like, what are they gonna do? What are they gonna talk about? It's like, yeah, you can make like 40 movies just based off Skyrim alone. You wouldn't even have to do you wouldn't have to do the main missions in order to get 40 movies out of Skyrim. It's ridiculous. But I'm one of those people that's like, if you make alterations that are reasonable and keep the core story, it's fine. We didn't have to go on Lilith's journey to find her powers. We didn't
No,
have to,
we didn't.
yeah, like we didn't have to see only part of the crew being put together. I wish we could have had the entire just bring in the entire cast from Borderlands 1.
Yeah.
The thing that I really, really don't like about movies now, and I will expand on this probably a little bit later. This is just in general, but it also pertains to this movie. Not every movie needs a universe. I just don't know. Like, no, not everybody needs to have a Marvel Cinematic Universe type movie. Like, same thing with people that really want there to be a Star Fox and Metroid Prime movie after seeing the success of Super Mario Brothers. I don't need to see a whole universe. Would it be cool to see the Super Smash Brothers universe come together? Yes. Do I think they're going to make a good Kirby movie in order to help build that universe together? Absolutely not. So the way that this movie was made, I kind of think that that's what they were going for. Because one, it's like you said, it's a prequel one basically, and then the ending, which her discovering her powers, and then basically saying, you know what, Votan ain't so damn bad. Basically turned into we can build a series of movies for each game, and it's just like, well, you could if this one was executed well, and it wasn't. So you don't need a cinematic universe for this. Please leave it alone.
Which leads me to my next point that I hate since we're technically still on spoiler alert. So spoiler alert again. They didn't fight the goddamn person at the end. They didn't fight thing inside the vault.
Oh yeah, that
But
was
that's the main thing in Borderlands. You go to the vault, you fight the thing, you get all the treasure. None of that happened. They said, "Is this what it looks like inside? Let's go."
But it's
That
not about the loot, BSP. It's about the friends you made along the way.
no, it's not. It's about the loot. I, where is my iridium mine? Huh? Where? Like, no. Not only that. Even if they didn't fight the thing, why couldn't I see it? Why did you not show a single whole animal in the entire Borderlands movie? We saw tentacles
Yeah,
and
we saw
bats.
like half of the Thresher Maw. We did see some skags. We saw like 2 skags. I'll give them that.
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
very,
I
very
was
small thing
asleep.
I'm giving them. That was the beginning of the movie.
I was getting popcorn.
Okay, that's fair. I'll give you that. I don't even believe that, honestly, but I'm going to give it to you
I got you
anyway.
fries. What you talking about?
I don't think I'm saying I don't believe that you were gone for that scene because it was so early.
Yeah, I missed the first like maybe 2 minutes of the movie.
Nah, you definitely came back in time. I promise you.
Yeah, maybe I just zoned out.
You probably did. The fries weren't that bad though, but the cheese. You didn't give me a fork, bro.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I thought about that while I was eating them. I was so hungry that I didn't complain, and then also I just didn't want to ruin it for our boy Dels. I was like, man, I really want to leave out of here and just go get myself a fork. I don't care how much I miss. But then again, I didn't want to miss anything because I wanted to give an accurate review of the movie itself. So yeah, here we are with cheese fingers. One set of cheese fingers later. You did give me a napkin though. You gave me one individual napkin, but I made it work.
Well, okay, the thing is I had more, but I had dropped a
You
couple.
you try. I can't stand you. But yeah, back to the movie. My bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're still on the bad. And honestly,
Okay.
I'm keeping it
They
from
said
being just. I'm keeping it
the,
from keeping it being open, so we can just go back and forth. It don't matter, man. We ain't gotta sit and do this try to interview style. We just gonna complain because that's exactly how we feel. This is like therapy for us. We're having to go see this movie.
so yeah, 2 skags. And that was it. And only in the beginning. And then some thresher backs. And that was it. That
That was
that
it.
was that was completely it. What else didn't I like about the movie? Um I wanted to see more abilities displayed.
Yeah, and it's like as much as I kind of want to understand that like Lilith only got her abilities towards the end, and that was pretty much it. I was just like, yo, Roland was still like Roland had just betrayed the military. So that means he had access to all that stuff beforehand. And all his abilities are tech based. He had the
Yeah.
turret, he has the shield. There's one more thing. Well, he has the turret covered by the shield, and then he has a thing with what's it with extra guns or something like that? I'm trying to remember. I can't remember.
I didn't play Borderlands 1, so I don't know.
Oh, you didn't?
I only played 2 and 3. I
Man.
can I completely skipped out on the first one. But that leads me to the next thing. Where the heck was Brick? Which also leads me to believe this is a prequel. Because where was Brick?
Yeah, Brick. Honestly, he couldn't have. There was no way that he was going to be there because that he Roland had just left the was it
Yeah.
NCO? No. The veteran, just being a veteran soldier. Anyway, special forces. Yeah,
Okay.
he had
So
just left
yes.
special forces.
So there's no Brick, no Mordecai. Yeah. All right. What else did we not like about the movie?
So honestly, we didn't like the angle that they took with the movie. It's
Yeah.
kind of what we overall saying. No, we didn't like the angle. Well, the one thing that I complain about is this movie is shot to be seen in 3D, intentionally shot to be seen in 3D, and it makes a lot of scenes very long and extended, or it makes them unnecessary, or they're shot weird to where like there's these long still frames of like this would have popped out at you if it was a 3D movie, like with the ship and the turrets pointing like straight at the screen. I'm pretty sure in 3D
Yeah.
it was supposed to feel like the turrets on the ship are right in your face, but they're not because you're seeing this in the standard dimension. Or for people that are like, well, why don't y'all see it in 3D? First of all, the movie's not good enough to be spending extra money for. Second, when you film a movie that can be seen in 3D, you do not deliberately film scenes just to be seen in 3D. Like, for instance, the Alien versus Predator movie was available in 3D. Pretty much all the Spider-Man movies were available in 3D. But there is
Hmm.
no specific scene to where it doesn't make sense to see it without being in 3D. And that's the point I'm trying to make. The Borderlands movie had scenes where when they were going against Commander Knox and she pulls up in her ships and she commands them to go out for the chase. That scene where they're like driving forward towards the camera, that's supposed to be 3D. When Roland and the crew drives through the Thresher Mall, that's supposed to be 3D. When Krieg is jumping up at Lilith and then he pretty much catapults her to be close to Tina, that's supposed to be 3D. And it's not, you don't have to be a film expert in order to notice this because I'm not a film expert. I barely take pictures. I do videos and I stream, but like I'm not an expert on fine tuning those things either to be some type of director. But you can tell when something is intentionally done to be seen only one way. And that kind of takes away from the skill behind editing, or at least the variety of shots you could have to make something seem cooler. They just ended up being people jumping at the screen multiple times. Another instance where they were down in the sewer and they were breaking through the gate and then they all run towards the elevator. 3D. You can tell because it's all just supposed to be things that look like it's reaching out to touch you or it's supposed to be getting really close to you. Even the end credits, the splash screen and the end credits looks that way. Where it's supposed to be seen in 3D. But it falls on his face. You're doing too much.
And I actually remember something else you didn't like about the movie. How quickly everyone becomes friends.
Bro, that argument they had on the way when they go through the Thresher Mall and they're just sitting there and they're like, we made it out. And Roland's like, but we got unfinished business. We don't trust you, Lilith. And she was like, well, if they're after me, if they're after you, they're also after me. And that means that you have no other friends here. And then they just stare at each other for a few seconds, and Roland's like, all right.
I mean, how much can you disagree with somebody when they're covered in thresher pee?
Yeah, I mean, look, I understand that part. But also that was weird too. They were immediately dry. They didn't have any reaction to the stank because they kept saying how bad it stank. And then like right after they get through, they get through the thresher and they land, they're just like, I'm dry, pretty clean. It feels nice.
Which I know that part was supposed to be funny, but it more so annoyed me than anything because
I'm
you
not
you
going
just
I'm
Yeah,
not
it's
gonna
like
lie.
full.
Yeah, that was whoo. That, but it also, teenage angst, not following. It had to make her seem childlike in another way. And I do. First of all, shout out to her for being a 16-year-old actor and portraying such a heavily criticized role in a heavily criticized movie. Like I'm
She
not gonna
did
say
good.
it, but yeah, she did a solid job. I'm not gonna say she's a bad actor. I will say they didn't explore more of the insanity of Tina, but it's whatever at this point.
I mean, they kind of did. She was always trying to throw up something to explode.
Yeah, but I mean, like the actual, like, I would say more the randomness of her, or
And
like
she
even
didn't say Donk enough either.
she did not say "badonkadonk" enough. That honestly is one of the funniest things about that character. Is she has booty references out the wazoo, and they're all bombs.
Yeah. Yeah. Another thing to dislike about this movie.
Yeah, but I mean, I would say so. I did give a pass to this for a very good reason. For those who have not played the video game and don't ever plan on playing it, it's fine. Stay here. For those who have played the game, or for those who have not finished Borderlands 1, I guess it's a spoiler for you. But I mean, the game came out in 2009. Grow up. Roland hasn't died yet, so that effect on Tina hasn't really happened, and I don't know if she snapped further post Roland's death, even though it feels like she did, especially in Tiny Tina's Wonderland. So that's the part where I kind of want to give a pass, but I'm only giving a pass because my memory doesn't serve me right. Because I mean, the death of someone that's really close to you would
It does
send
have an
you.
effect on
It would have a
yeah.
deep effect on you. So I'm just like, I don't know if if that was part of her insanity, or if that was actually part of herself being humanized in Tiny Tina's Wonderland, because that does happen.
I didn't play Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
It's a good game. It's
Oh,
more
right
it's more fun than 3.
here.
I just got tired of playing it with Dels because I now have less time to invest in a game in a single night. So when somebody's like, "Oh, let's go explore this area over here," I'm like, "No, stop. Do the main story. Keep going. Stop it." They're like, "But what about the upgrades and the armor? I have 30 minutes before this kid wakes up. Please just go to the next goddamn mission." So that's kind of my issue. It makes me an
Gotcha.
impatient gamer, and it's no one else's fault except mine.
I gotta say, like you said, the journey is the friends that we make along the way.
Yeah, but
Include
if it takes me 45 hours to play a 20-hour game, I'm not having a good time anymore.
that's fair. I like the side stuff in the game, especially like the Horizon Zero Dawn. Yes. Um, so also some of the funniest things in Borderlands are the side missions. So
Absolutely. The shoot me in the face. Shoot me
I was
in
just
the
thinking of that one.
Yeah, that's the number
I
one.
was just thinking.
The fact that so
So
many people use that clip as a meme to say how bad the movie was also hilarious. And that just like, I was like, that's messed up. You use them against themselves. That's ridiculous. But
it
also,
is
I couldn't stop
hilarious.
laughing every time I saw it.
It's pretty accurate though, and also that is a very iconic side mission.
No, it really is.
Very
Oh,
well delivered by that person too.
yeah,
Anyway,
whoever that
yeah,
sucker was, great job. But I also have to say, this is the part where I slightly disagree with you. One thing I did not like were some of the actors' performances, and I don't even think that it was necessarily just the director. I mean, like I said, the writing was not that good. I don't necessarily think it was the director. I think it was just a limitation in range. Like I get that the Roland and Kevin Hart is supposed to be a very serious character. He's like very demure. Not just playing. The demure means
mm,
shy, by the way, for every person that's been using that on TikTok for the past few days. Demure does not mean bougie. It means shy. Stop using the word
mm,
wrong. But anyway, I know that he's supposed to be very serious. And it's like he was serious, but he was serious as a punching bag for jokes. So like he would say, say something serious, and he'd be like, "I'm one of the finest soldiers," and Tina would be like, "They sent one of their shortest soldiers to do their work," and like he was just the butt of the joke half the time. Which he's supposed to be this very dominant leading figure, and I think as much as Kevin Hart has shown that he has range in what's the movie Fatherhood, and then the other one
yeah,
is True Story, he's shown that he can play a serious role, but I think the contrast wasn't great enough because he was just playing some stale black man. It's just like the reason why I can't completely blame the director is because Tannis was so on point. Krieg was so on point. Lilith's attitude of being like, I don't really want to be here, F this stuff, was accurate. I just didn't like the actor. I think the actor herself was just like a bleh performance because the story was a bleh performance. But Jack Black was fine as Claptrap. The only there was like a small difference in the voice. I know there's gonna bug some people that are very nitpicky, but I'm not gonna lie. There's some differences you can let go of. But yeah, it
Yeah.
was just getting that part was the part of the execution to me that was a problem. Is just like I don't know he was the right fit for that because they want the character to be so serious when Kevin Hart truly wants to is very good at just being funny. And I don't care if you agree that he is funny to you or not. Me and BSB agree that Kevin Hart is funny.
Yeah.
But I don't care if you agree or not that he is funny. If your strong suit is being funny, usually that's what you want to lean towards in just about all of your roles. You even want, if a comedian ad libs in a serious movie, they're probably gonna do some type of ad libbing to break tension. Like they have a good understanding of serious moments and stuff like that, but that's if they ad lib and they have to go on their own without direction, that's what they would do. They would lean on what they know best. It's kind of like if you get a rapper to freestyle about it, rap about famine, and then all they really rap about is fancy cars. They're gonna if they run out of material, they're gonna lean on those fancy cars. So
Right.
that kind of sucked too, because I didn't want to blame Kevin Hart. And trust me, the whole movie is not bad just because of Roland. The movie sucks because the movie sucks. It is a collection of bad ideas with a whole bunch of marketing money. And I feel like the marketing funds was much greater than the actual money put into the movie itself. And that's one of the reasons for its failure. But yeah, I'm honest, I don't even have to expand on that part because it's just going to be me ranting in a circle at this point. But there's stuff that just doesn't work. Like the CGI is hit or miss. Thresher good. Explosions, gunshots. I forgot which gun it is. The one that rotates, that has the rotating barrel.
The Jacob?
No, the Jacob is the one that just is the single shot that shoots really fast. It's the one that Lilith had. I think hers was a Torg. Yeah, I think it was a Torg. But she had the pistol that had like the 3 rotating barrels. When she used that and the barrels were rotating and that was CGI, that was lit. That was actually pretty good. But then the corrosive that was down underneath in the sewers, not so good. So it was just really hit or miss. It was really hit or miss. CGI for the vault, kind of a miss. Like they didn't fit the scenery well. Like it looked like they were actually in a set piece made with CGI. The ships, they were fine, but it's just like stuff like that was just weird. It just didn't mesh well. It seemed like a lot of the stuff lacked polish. And though the set pieces were good, the more live action built set pieces, the stuff that has CGI involved was just, man, it's okay, I guess. All the way to downright, this is pretty bad.
I'm not, and as critical as I am about digitals, I'm not as critical as for CGI as most people are, and I've noticed that I more so just don't like old school CGI. I mean, because back then it was like, oh, this is so cool, it's so new, and all that kind of stuff. I don't care for old looking stuff, which is the
Yeah.
same reason why I don't always like older video games if the graphics are if they were precedented for that time period. I more so enjoy today's technology. But CGI is one of those things where I'm not critical over because I don't know. I guess I don't really pay attention to it that much. So the CGI didn't really bother me as much.
To
I
me, it
mean,
can
because
break immersion. That's my big
I
complaint.
mean, I mean that makes sense. There were so many other bad things about the movie. You just didn't care about the CGI. CGI.
Yeah, but I mean, you gotta try to find something to redeem. Like a bad movie that looks pretty is at least
Still a
tolerable.
bad movie. Still a bad movie though.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's the point.
Bad
It's
movie.
definitely a bad
But
movie.
yeah.
But like,
Keep
I
it
can give an
simple.
example of a good movie that had a very terrible CGI moment, and I will always say this, and I always have, is in Black Panther when they fought in that train, that subway. And you've seen Black Panther, right?
I have seen Black Panther.
Okay, I'm about to say you're not black if you haven't. Anyway, you would just be a striped prism. But anyway, with that big fight where they're down there in that little subway train station thing underground, that whole CGI sequence was one of the worst looking CGI sequences I had seen in a very long time. It went from being like this very sprawling, beautiful movie to looking like it may be a PS4 game. And it would like it literally broke immersion because you're just like, there's no way that these people are in these suits. There's no way that these are stunt doubles. This is just CGI. And it almost looked like it was borderline AI generated. It was a very ugly moment in a movie that otherwise was pretty impressive. But yeah, that type of stuff that does break immersion because that actually was a big pain point in a lot of reviews too. But when the movie
Uh,
overall is bad, it's just like I'm looking for anything to redeem this. Does it at least look nice? You know, like you meet somebody and you're just like, they have a terrible attitude, but at least they're nice to look at, so I can get through this date. It's just like, they got a terrible attitude, and they got lipstick all over their teeth, and I can see the cap of her wig. Do I really want to be here? To me, it's kind of what it was like, and it's it can work the other way around too for ladies. Like the guy was kind of a
uh,
douche, but did he also leave his wallet at home? Is that a massive bald spot underneath that hat? Like that's kind of what it felt like.
hey, men's hair is something they can't control.
Yeah, it is.
Lipstick is something you can't control. Is it?
Heck yeah, it is. You've seen Rogaine before, or you've seen shoot. Let's be real. It's different hairstyles for people that got bald patchiness. You can work around it. You can work around it. You can make it work. Get you some plugs or something. You can definitely work around a bad haircut or balding.
Your
You know,
braids around that one spot.
yo, there's a dude that had dreads. I know this is totally off topic. There's this guy that had locks. Let's stop trying to call him dreads. There's a guy that had locks. I seen him on this one Instagram page I follow. This man finally got it cut, and his whole hairstyle was kind of like in a pineapple. So he had like the long locks, and then they were tied up and made to look kind of like a pineapple up top, right? They finally
Uh-huh.
cut this man's locks off. He had the biggest bald spot in the middle of his head. He literally just had hair. Like all his locks were so long, but they were all going around the bald spot in his head, and he kept them so he could cover up the bald spot. And I thought that was absolutely hilarious that he worked around it so well. But anyway, I just thought that was funny. But yeah, there's opportunities to work around this stuff. Unfortunately for this movie, throw the whole thing in the trash. There was nothing that they could have done in order to avoid how poorly executed everything was from the main villain. Even the main villain wasn't that good of an actor. He wasn't really convincing that he was evil. And I'm so glad that Handsome Jack was not in this movie. Oh my God. It would have been, if Handsome Jack was in this movie, the whole marketing tactic would have been the absolute same as the Suicide Squad, where they were like, guess what? Joker's in it. Joker's in it. Joker's in it. Hey, you like that preview? Joker's in it. Joker's in it. Will Smith is also here too, but Joker's in it. And then like you go to see the movie and you're like, this entire movie sucks. Now where's Joker? And then Joker comes in and you're like, wow, this Joker sucks. There's no saving this movie. So I'm glad they didn't do that because that would have been the same marketing tactic. They would have been like, come to see Claptrap and Handsome Jack. Handsome Jack, the most evil man in the world, is gonna be here. And then they would have had like a few minutes with him and then nothing else would have happened. So I'm glad that didn't happen, even though that means they still wanted to make some type of cinematic universe for Borderlands, which people are bold, bro. People are so bold when making movies to think that it's going to be an automatic hit, so they just set themselves up for a sequel or an entire cinematic universe surrounding their product. And it feels disingenuous as a movie maker to say that you wanted to make something that's very good and palatable instead of just saying I want to create that steady cash flow that Marvel has. And it feels like I forgot what who coined the phrase, but the Marvelification of movies has ruined a lot of films. There's a bunch of movies that should be one-offs or that shouldn't have a universe, and it's cool for them to be loosely connected or have just like small references to other movies just for the fun of it because directors and stuff like other films or want to share their inspirations. But When I saw that ending, and I knew that they weren't going to fight that thing, and that they weren't going to fight anything inside the vault, I was like, oh, they're setting this up. And then when like Lily goes down, flies off during the fireworks, I was like, oh my god, they're trying to make a cinematic universe for this thing. No, it's not
Mm.
going to work. Even if their aim was just a trilogy, I mean, that's enough. That could also lead to a whole universe because let's be real. Gearbox main a moneymaker is Borderlands, but 2K, if they find success, they can throw money at a lot more movies. So I'm not happy it failed, but I'm happy that the idea of executing another universe failed because we don't need that. I don't need you to burn down. I don't need you to burn a hole in all these ideas and just say, how can we connect it to 20 other movies about the same thing? Have an original idea. If it's good and the story calls for it, you can make a sequel. If it really necessarily needs it, then yeah, make a whole trilogy. But stop going beyond that with all these movie ideas. We allowed the Marvel Universe to basically edge us for a decade, and then we finally got the great finale, which was well worth it, well worth the wait. But now you see Marvel trying to do it again, and the people are a lot less interested. And it's
Yeah,
because we're kind of fatigued on needing an entire universe to understand what's gonna go on and what's gonna happen. And some of the movies are actually good. I mean, I'm still sticking with just the Spider Verse stuff. I actually don't care about anything else. But anyway,
Spider-Verse is all that matters.
honestly, yeah,
And and the Tom Holland movies are really good too.
they are.
They are
They are
they are progressively better.
way better than Borderlands.
Very.
But yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead,
I don't think there's anything else I disliked about the movie.
man. I don't think that
So
was much I liked. There was one point where when they were on Pandora and Roland was having a conversation with his friend who was obviously trying to betray him the whole time. Right after that scene, which also was not funny, I almost fell asleep. And the thing that kept me awake is I literally remembered that I had more cheese fries and I was looking at what happened in the Olympics. And I think we went to go see it the night that US won gold. So the thing that woke me up, the thing that kept me awake is I kept trying to find if I could see any stats whatsoever for the game. And when I couldn't, I was like, well, I guess I should go ahead and keep watching this movie. And then there was the scene with the sewer. And then I was like, okay, you wrote me back in. And then Lilith gets into gets duped by the president of Atlas. And I was just like, okay, we're building somewhere. And then right after that, it went like downhill again. And I was like, oh God. The only thing I had to look forward to was if Claptrap could do something to redeem us, which honestly, like I said, majority means more than 50%. It's maybe 60 for me. Maybe. There's a lot of duds. There's quite a few duds.
a lot of duds. Agreed. Yeah, so I guess my overall rating for the movie is maybe a 5 out of 10, if not 4 out of 10.
Yeah, I feel like it came down a little bit. Or no, that was Trent's score. Yeah, Trent initially gave it an 8 and then went down to a 6.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right.
I still I'll give it a 5. Give it a 5.
I'm giving it a 3.5. And that's just something I'm pretty committed to. I only went back and forth on a 4 maybe twice, but for the most part it's not it, man. This movie is aesthetically not that pleasing. The acting roles, like the people that did the acting in these movies, like they're not terrible, but it's not strong enough to carry this movie. The relationship building is very light, very weak, very fast. I already made my complaint about the CGI. If you want to just go to Commander Knox's IG, just Google Commander Knox IG and just go look at how beautiful she is. For the most part, everything else about this movie is a miss. The only thing I can say overall that this movie did very well, it made me want to play the games again.
Mm.
When we left, I was itching to play Borderlands 2 because this was so bad of a movie that I was like, I really just want to relive the story again in the way that it
Yeah,
was portrayed in the game. So yeah, I heard that sales for the game actually went up after the movie, even though pretty much everybody ended up kind of hate watching the movie. But yeah, I think in some regard, it's not enjoyable, but I do think in some regard that like it did some good. But like I said, when the only motive is how much can you merchandise and how much money you can make, it's not going to work in your favor.
Yeah, but they don't make a movie just to knowing it's gonna fail. I mean, obviously they wanted it to land, but it did not. It did
Yeah,
not land.
it didn't land at all. And the box office is saying the same thing. Like after 3 weeks, they haven't recouped nearly as much money as they put into the movie. But it is what it is. Some things knock, some things flop. I really don't know what to tell them. I wish they could find. I wish that they spent less of a budget on just the actors, like getting big names and actually got people that were passionate about the game, like actors that actually played the game extensively. I would say maybe you can keep Tina. Krieg is not a big name. If you got to keep one person to be like your money maker, keep Jack Black and then just replace just about everybody else with like smaller names that are just really solid actors. They could have significantly cut the budget. If this movie was made with, let's say, like 50 or 60 million, I really think it would have fared better. But with the level of talent within each role and all the money that was put behind it, I definitely didn't expect much else. But I definitely know that the potential hasn't been tapped into nearly at all. There was a lot of freedom that they had with this, at least creatively. I think they had a lot of freedom, or at least no, I take that back. They had a lot of ideas. They had a lot of ideas they could have gone with. I don't know how much creative freedom they had, but there's a lot of ideas they could have approached. The one they went with just didn't work. 3.5 out of 10 for me. Don't go see it. Don't waste your time. If you haven't seen Dune 1 and 2, go see those instead.
Yeah, or go see Deadpool and Wolverine out now.
I haven't seen it yet, so I have nothing to say about that.
I have so many things to say about it. Find out next time on the next episode of. I'm just kidding.
Nah, but for real, they do have to find out next time because I'm probably gonna go see it before we get before we have to do another review. But this was fun, man. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you dropped by so we could go over this movie. I really hope that. I mean, if y'all go see it, it's on you. But truly, if you don't go see it for free or see it during the matinee, those are the only times I would say that you can watch it. If you want to just hate watch something with Kevin Hart or Jamie Lee Curtis, fine, go do that. But yeah, other than
or wait till it comes out on TV.
do that. But yeah, other than that, man, avoid this.
Avoid it like the plague.
Yep, keep your distance like it's COVID days. But anyway, it's LQ, BSP, Shun the Speakeasy. We out. And now for the musical stylings of Bowser and Call Me LQ, as promised.
Peaches. I love you. Oh, peaches. Oh, come on. Peaches. Help us.